This logo, actually, Community Networks, we found that when we were dealing with employers, they really wanted to have something that made us look a little more professional, a little more understanding on what we do. We're actually 3 departments. We're Community Connections, and we'll talk about these. We're Community Connections, we're Community Auctions, and we're SES. But to the public, to the business community, to the agencies out there, to the businesses that we try to connect with, we're Community Networks. Okay, this is how we break out. So, under Community Connections, we have Jane Spina and Nicole Fraser, and they'll be talking a little bit about their program. We have under Supported Employment, Joe Sousa and Mary Fleet. And last but not least, under Community Auctions, we have Teresa Medeiros. This is how we break out in terms of the numbers, in terms of how many people are within each program. So we break out pretty much a third for each program. Within Community Auctions, and I think that's the one to note the most, if you look at it, we have 43 people right now in that program. We have 1 staff. So that's a lot of people on one person's caseload. What that tells you is the amount of support that's provided per individual is very minimal once the training is done in their placement. So there are people who want to come into volunteer placements, and there's a lot of them, but the system that we have right now doesn't allow that. So if you're thinking of somebody who might be able to volunteer or wants to volunteer, think about how much support that person's going to need, given the system that we work in right now and the staff ratios that we have. These are the areas that we try to focus on. We're basically geared towards employment and volunteer placement. That's been our history. We've been always doing that. But what we found is, in order for people to be successful in their placements, we needed to provide those other supports. So we started with, coming to job clubs, supporting them in going to a doctor's appointment, supporting them in a few things like that. And now what we've come to realize is, they need a little bit of help with their cooking so that they have the nutrition that they need to do their job. They need to have friends outside of work because sometimes work is stressful. So we've had to work through some of the extra supports that we provide. And we're now at a point where we provide quite a number of different supports that people can tap into. If we look at where our individuals come from, we actually have 3 points of entry that they come into our program. And coming into our program means coming into one of the 3 departments that we work in. So they come in through the DSO. And through the DSO, they could be referred directly to one of the programs within Community Networks, or they could be referred to a residential program that then has a supporting day program. The second one is the interdepartmental transfer. So these are individuals that probably would relate to what the staff does residentially. So if you had an individual who you thought was ready for one of our programs or wanted to buy into one of our classes for job search, wanted to start working on resume writing and working towards a job, and you kind of had a bit of an experience base to work from, you would come to us through an interdepartmental transfer. And that interdepartmental transfer is a form that's completed by the manager of the day program that they're in at this point in time. And then that person, for example, Carrie, if somebody was coming from one of her programs, would then refer the person over to myself, and we go through the whole profile of the individual. The last one that Denise touched upon quite a bit was the STEPS program, so I don't really need to go into a lot of that, but we're developing a new client base based on the STEPS program and the passport dollars and individuals that do have dollars. They're attaching to our clubs and classes, and so we're growing in those. We're having a mix of our membership and individuals who are coming through that program.
So as Mary stated, our work in Community Connections. I do mostly employment, and as you can see, there's a young lady that you can see her Wendy's uniform. It's very important for us to develop positive relationships with the community, employers, and to ensure that the participant is supported to feel as part of the team.
Community Connections, we offer employment, training, job search placement, job coaching, volunteer placement, job coaching, social skills and personal development, recreational and networking opportunities, advocacy, clubs, and classes.
This young man we've supported for over 8 years. He works in the manufacturing industry. He was a young man that actually never used to go to school. And now he's married and works full-time, and he's actually currently looking for another position because he feels he's gone to the end of his rope here, and we're supporting him to find another job. This young man is fairly new to us in the last year. He broke the barrier at Zehrs. We always had a hard time getting into Zehrs. And he really enjoys his job, and he's a very well-respected member of the employees. He cleans very well, and the supervisors keep telling me they really like him. The next slide. This young man, I think quite a few of you might know him. He's quite the ambassador at Wendy's. He's worked there over 8 years. They absolutely love him there. He's part of the team. He makes them laugh every day, and he really greets customers in a very professional way, and he's very valued.
Okay, this young gentleman here, he volunteers at Pride Stables. He's been there approximately 8 to 10 years, and his duties include mucking the stalls, mowing the lawn, and filling the hayloft with hay. This young lady volunteers as a classroom aide at one of our Catholic schools. She's been there approximately 10 to 11 years. She assists the teacher with arts and crafts, general cleanup, and lunchtime, in the lunch area with the children. This young man, he cleaned the equipment at Red Cross. He had been there approximately 10 to 12 years before they started sending the equipment out to be cleaned. And he cleans all the assistive equipment that gets to be sent out again.
What is SES? SES is Employment Services for individuals 18 years and up. And we provide, our main emphasis is on individuals 35 and older, but we do have youth that transition from the Community Connections program into our program. What we offer: pre-employment skills training, resume assistance, interview skills and preparation, job procurement, coaching and monitoring, skills development, academic upgrading, and clubs and classes.
A few examples of our successful candidates working right now. This young gentleman has spent the spring, summer, and time now. He's got a new job where he now is store clerk. And he's actually doing academic upgrading in the meantime as well, and hopefully in the spring, when the season comes back up, he'll be able to juggle both jobs. This man works at HomeSense. He works in the back. He's not necessarily a clerk. He mostly does the back merchandising, where he assembles a lot of the product that comes in, like lamps that come disassembled in packages. And this woman has been at the Cambridge Rowing Club for 20 years now as their cleaner. She works weekly at 6 a.m., cleaning up their change rooms, their athletic room, and their all of their. She's the sole cleaner there, and she also works for us at Community Living Cambridge, cleaning our main office. And in her off time, is part of almost every group that we have. Actually, she's in our art class and our photography class, and she does all our big events. So she's really, really active with us. And this woman here has been working at Burger King for quite some time, and she's the main person cleaning up after Whopper Wednesdays, the busiest day of the week, and she's a really good asset to them. And lastly, we have this man who also works at the stables we showed earlier, except he's a paid staff. He has a bit more responsibilities, like feeding the horses as well, and he actually looks after all of the other volunteers that are there. And next will be Community Options.
So, Community Options program basically offers volunteer rec and leisure programs to adults 35 and over. The participation is progressively independent, so the hope is that they can fulfill their volunteer duties as independently as possible so that only maintenance of the placement is needed. We use volunteers on site to sometimes support them. Other times we can provide a volunteer for them. So we offer volunteer placement and training, minimal on-site coaching, recreation and leisure opportunities. We do friends and fitness every Thursday. A lot of folks enjoy that. Bus training and route training as well, and clubs and classes. So this is a participant of ours. She's been in this position for about 5 years now. Very independent, has her own friends, and only needs my help at certain times. I'll get a call to go in and retrain and that kind of thing. This is the Get Out, Get Happy gang going out and bowling one evening. And this gentleman, this is his certificate. He volunteers at the food bank and received an award for Volunteer of the Year.
So what we want to touch upon now is our clubs and classes.
This is something that's fairly new within what we do. We've probably been doing it for about 7, 8 years now. We've been planning for about 10 years to get to this point. And what we offer is a variety of different programs. I'm not going to share all the information. We're not going to talk about all the details of it. You can find that on our website, because now that we've gone fee for service, there's a lot more information about those clubs and classes that's available on the website. So if we go to the next slide, this is just a few examples of the ones that are more recent that we've done. We do a lot of life skills, basic life skills training, like the budgeting, like the cooking. We try to do a little bit of the heart healthy lifestyle. So we have the fitness and friends. We had yoga going, we Zumba. There's a number of things that we provide as options for people who want to be involved. We also have quite a bit on the arts front. We have a massive initiative, and you'll see that within some of the next slides that we go through, that we've really been gathering momentum within the arts community in Cambridge, and things seem to be going really well. So this big event is the Cambridge Tour de Grand, which we do yearly. The guys really enjoy coming out to this one. Thousands of cyclists are there. And we're usually assigned as traffic marshals, which makes everybody feel really important. And they get to have a free lunch afterwards. So it ends up being a great day.
Okay, this big event is called Giver, and on this day, participants and Community Living Cambridge staff came together on a hot summer day and rebuilt a playground in the Hespeler area. This was part of a television production, and they allowed us to be part of their wonderful day.
And this is the one that Mary just mentioned, the Day and a Night Festival, which is an annual event celebrating the artists in the local community of Hespeler. And this year's theme was a celebration of Hespeler's rich history in the textile industry. And artist Sue Sturdy created this large-scale loom so the community could be involved in creating a large piece of art. And we had a big part of that, both that day and in the weeks before. In preparation, we had the seniors program, links program, ADP, and our help out by like the center right there. You can see them working there in our building, just creating a lot of the swatches that were to go into the final product. And during that day, they helped out a lot with that project, and also went around serving refreshments to all the artists that were there, and just generally handing out flyers and doing everything they could.
Get Out, Get Happy is a monthly social night that participants come out. We have prearranged activities, and the most popular seem to be bowling, darts at the Preston Legion, and movie night. Participants provide their own transportation, and they bring their own admission fee. And it's just a nice night out. Freezies is a group bulk cooking program that we run every other month. It's when 4 to 6 participants get together We do bulk cooking, normally 2 different recipes. We have dinner, and then they each get to take home 5+ meals in freezable containers that they can use at their own dishes.
This is Come Dine With Me, and it was a program developed to have participants learn how to host a party using proper etiquette, inviting a loved one or a friend. This was our Valentine's Day one, where they were allowed to bring a date and serve as host and set a table and do all the things you would do if you were hosting a dinner party.
Art Trails, this was a one-time venture that we did with the Cambridge Center of the Arts, and we had some artists that were coming alongside us, and they were really great with the participants. And all the day programs were invited, and they got to come explore 4 different mediums: drawing, sculpting, painting, and printing. Everyone really enjoyed it. They were very proud of their artworks. A lot of them took them home. And one thing that sticks out in my mind is there was a young lady that had Alzheimer's, and she was kind of nervous about coming in the door. And once she got in the door and started getting going, she just loved it, and she was very happy. So it was nice to see the smiles on everyone's faces.
And art class, which is now just called Art Club, because it's ongoing. We a bunch of individuals just meet weekly with me and sort of have an open studio where they sort of create whatever they feel like creating, whatever inspiration comes their way. So, and in the hopes that we always have somewhere to show this, and the next slide will show where we showed it last time. Mayor Celebration for the Arts. So this past June, we were invited to be guest artists, and we had a whole display on the 2nd floor in front of the mayor's office. So 12 of us, I think, or 15 of us had 25 pieces up, both painting and also our photography group, which is not listed here because we have way too many things to show. So that thing was a great success. About 5,000 people were in attendance that opening night, and much of them came through and had conversations with all of our artists that were, actually all of our participants actually showed up for that night and stayed the whole time, so they all had a great time and met a lot of people and showed off their work.
This is the Community Network Summer Barbecue. It's a welcome to summer barbecue. It's held at the end of June. The first year we had 50 participants. Last summer we had 80 participants. So it appears to be growing each year.